Welcome back, everybody, to episode 83 of the Daily BLP. I'm your host, Brian Collins, joined here with my good friend, Matthew Dugan. How you doing today, Matt?
Doing good. Back in Denver here now that I was in Charlotte over the weekend, so good to be back. But yeah, how's the move? Glad to see you. It's been a week or so since I know you moved into the new office and everything.
Yeah, it was good. It was kind of a little bit longer than we wanted it to be, but it's always like that. I talked about it a lot yesterday. But it's good to be in our own space. It's good to kind of be settling in a little bit and figuring out how we want to use the different rooms and offices to their full potential. But glad to have everybody out there tuning in, whether it's live right now or further on down the road. But yeah, glad to be. We took about a week or so hiatus, and now we're back into it. Lots happened in the world in the last week. We can't cover it all, but we can start to cover a little bit about what's going on in the world right now. So yeah, we're moving the flywheel or getting the locomotive moving again. It's really like we're kind of gaining some momentum back that we lost. I don't know that we lost any real momentum. We did a little bit just because sometimes mentally when your place is, like a bomb went off, you kind of change what you do because when you're in the business that starts to get some foot traffic when you're closing deals and stuff, it makes you a little bit hesitant on what you can and can't do, even though you never really want to get into that game. But we are turning things back on now. So we're looking at hiring a couple business development reps internally to work out of our office here. We're in the process of hiring maybe definitely one, maybe two patient services reps for one of our clients that's about an hour from our office. They're struggling with it on their own, so they contracted us to do it for them. We'll hire them, manage, and run that whole show for them. And some other cool things going on too. So it definitely feels like we're picking up some momentum. How about you?
Yeah, definitely feels good being kind of back in the groove here. Like we had a really good in-person video shoot a few weeks ago. So all that, we've got a lot of great testimonials and doing, more and more of those for, implementers, EOS, outsourced, fractional CFOs. So, that's been really great. And yeah, getting back into the groove to hit, the end of the year strong here. But yeah, it feels good. Was kind of traveling and doing a lot of traveling the past few weeks. So don't really have much travel left for the rest of the year. So really able to kind of lock in and get some things done before the end of the year, which is nice.
Cool. So what was happening out in Charlotte?
Yeah, so just went back to go to a wedding, actually. Some of my friends were getting married, so just went back, and really nice. Haven't been back since, I'd moved from there. So really cool to just see friends, family. They had it at Botanical Gardens, so did that. And then, just was able to catch up with a lot of my different friends from there, caught up with some clients as well that are in person there. So it was just a great trip, and yeah, overall was really fun. So was glad to see everybody, and it was cool to get back.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Safe travels.
Yep.
Hey, was it weird traveling? Did you notice like less people working? What was the travel scene like?
So honestly, I didn't have any issues with TSA. The only thing was a little bit of delays going from hub to hub, but nothing out of the ordinary that I had never seen before. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just like a few hours. I was stuck in the airport, but not the end of the world there. That's somewhat normal. TSA, I thought was honestly really smooth at both in Denver and in Charlotte. So other than that, didn't really notice too much. I guess you could say maybe some of the TSA workers didn't seem like they were exactly enjoying themselves. Maybe you could see maybe a little bit of a mood shift. But other than that, I had no complaints there at all and was really smooth. And yeah, shout out to the TSA and everything for getting me back.
Yeah, especially not knowing which ones of them are getting their paycheck or not at that point, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, TSA is an interesting thing. I don't know if I've ever seen, maybe there's been a couple outliers, but most of the time they seem pretty locked in and taking what they're doing really seriously, which I can appreciate. But I always feel kind of bummed for folks in that position because, man, how do you maybe the joy out of the work is knowing that everybody's safe and the day goes smooth and no shenanigans happen. But they're always like locked in. Like I try to smile at people when they're checking my IDs or saying how they don't want any of that.
Yep, exactly.
Because they're thinking, what's this guy trying to pull?
Yeah. Right now. Why is he being so nice?
Checking with put him in the cavity search. We want something going on here.
Yep, exactly.
But cool. Glad you were able to get back to the old stomping grounds and
Yep.
and do some wedding. Did you do any dancing at the wedding? Did you get out
A
and cut it
little
up?
bit. I did do the limbo. I will
You
admit,
did the limbo.
and I did it well. But as we've talked about before, my knees aren't the best from baseball. I kind of felt that
Yeah.
in the morning a little bit. I
Did
kind of
you?
felt that in the knees, but I did it. I did it. So
Well, you know, you lubricate up with some libations, you know, and
yep,
you in the act, you're like, I got it. I
yep,
still got it. I
yep,
can get down
exactly,
there. You know what I mean?
exactly,
But the next day,
exactly.
you're like, whoa,
Yep.
that
Well,
don't got it.
I was like, well, my hamstrings are sore after a wedding. I was like, what's going on there? But no, it was great. Did a little bit of that, did, the limbos thing, a little bit of dancing. Really nice ceremony. You know, really great. Just everything. You know, they knocked it out of the park. So it was really enjoyable. And yeah, like you said, just great to get back to the stomping grounds. It was pretty nostalgic. You know,
Yeah,
driving in, seeing all because I lived there for about 5 years. So you know, it
right.
was really cool and nostalgic and a little bit emotional in a good way. So yeah, really enjoyed it.
That's cool. You know,
Yep.
I've been to weddings in other parts of the country for like destination weddings, like where
Right.
my family from around here went out there. And so it was like having a Wisconsin wedding, but in a different place. I mean, out, you know, let's say North Carolina, east side of the world, or at least of the US, you know, what are the typical wedding traditions out there?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of them. So to be honest, I've only been to two weddings that are like, you know, friends where I'm going traveling. One was back in my hometown of Virginia Beach, which was just a very nice place, you know, kind of going with the water. And then
Yeah.
here in North Carolina, they did the botanical gardens. So they had like a welcome party in the city. And then the actual ceremony and everything was, you know, they had shuttle buses, about a 40-minute drive to the
Yeah.
botanical gardens. But most of what I've seen is, yeah, there are just a lot of beautiful places to do it at. You know, the beach theme is really big, especially for the East Coast, you know, kind of
Hmm.
doing that. A lot of, you know, kind of renting out hotels, renting out restaurants, things like that. I feel like what I've seen with a lot of the weddings on the East Coast, for example, I haven't really been to any with my friends out here, but noticed, you know, a lot of just very nice restaurants, you know, churches, kind of beach, just keeping it, you know, very nice and in a cool area because, you know, East Coast, you can kind of take advantage of the cool areas without having to go too far. So I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the trend I saw a little bit there.
How was the weather out there during, you know, last week?
It was
Was it
beautiful.
good?
It was a little bit chillier at night, which was a good thing because you're wearing a suit. So I was
Yeah.
kind of sweating during the event, anyways. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was great weather. Sunday's weather was beautiful. I think it was like, you know, low 70s, like high 60s, which is really nice. So really beautiful fall weather. Still had, you know, the leaves are pretty much gone here in Denver, but there it was still kind of beautiful, almost autumn like weather. I'd say it was
So
really
yeah.
nice weather there. Yeah.
Man, the weather here in the Midwest cut into like the 20s this week. It's been in the 20s this week. It's supposed to warm up a little bit and then get cold again.
Yeah.
We got like some
Yep.
flurries, no snow that really stuck here. I think Chicago got some, but it got
Yep.
cold all of a sudden and I wasn't ready. I was like getting used to the mild weather, but
Yeah, my buddy that lives in Chicago sent me a picture because I sent him a picture. I was like, oh, back in Charlotte, because he used to live there with me. I was like, this is pretty cool. And it was like beautiful weather. And then he sent me back a picture of snow. And I was like,
yeah.
whoa, it's crazy how different places and doing all that. But no, yeah,
Well, it's not
heard
that
you
much
guys.
further south, but you get that warm air off
Yeah.
the ocean and it stays
Yep.
nice and warm.
Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
All right then. Well, any new stuff coming up for Pivot? Any big things coming up in the future before we cover some stuff that I'm doing?
Just the side, now that we're kind of back, and I'm locked in here in Denver for a little bit, gonna try to do more of the poker, get some episodes out there, go to more of the events out there that are coming up. So we'll have kind of more to talk about there, kind of working out some details, some things coming up there. So side project Pivot itself, still going on that poker guideline. But as far as Pivot Studios, just really diving into the testimonials. Honestly, we've now completed 3 testimonials, working on our 4th for EOS specific implementers. So people out there, that's the entrepreneurial operating system. People are implementers of that, and they
Yeah.
go out and they're kind of like coaches of that nature. So we've got kind of 3 in the pocket there. And so now that I've got those connections, all of them have been ecstatic about the, just the quality and everything about it. They're putting me in touch with other implementers, things like that. So, really trying to horn in on that because, testimonials, podcasts, all those other things, those are, great. And they do bring a lot of value. But one thing with testimonials is it brings you direct value, because that's, you need that. You can't live without testimonials, and you can use that in sales and all that good stuff. So it's really cool about that. So as far as a business standpoint, just really keep going into those testimonials. Would like to get more of those in-person video shoots. So that's where I think we're really honing in, because we're seeing a lot of success, and we're seeing a lot of clients being very, very happy with it, which then makes me feel great, and it kind of gives me that passion of like, oh, I like this. Let's keep moving in that direction. So podcasts and testimonials, I think, are our two hitting points right now.
Cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Have you seen any kind of hesitancy or anything like that out of people when it comes to the poker and the gambling scene after all that stuff that happened a little while back in the NBA and the mob kind of stuff that's going on?
Not really. I really haven't noticed too much, except for a lot of them just taking the opportunity to make some great content about it, talk about it, things of that nature. I haven't really seen anything negative come from it. Surprisingly, I feel like it fell out of the news headlines relatively quickly, which was a little bit surprising. I thought people would have harped on it more, but I think I personally haven't seen too much negative feedback or hold back. I think it just I think maybe companies now keep a closer eye on it. If anything, people, the FanDuels and the DraftKings are now keeping a closer eye on it. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it really doesn't affect that much, because I also don't think it's going on that much, just because of people know you're going to get caught. And like you've seen now, technology, just all the tracking and just the way people can catch on to these things. I think not too many. Like I said, it kind of surprised me how quickly it dropped out of headlines.
Yeah, it did too. It fell off quick. And I sometimes you wonder when that happens, if like when it was going on, that like the FBI they said, okay, it's time to start feeding the press information, and then all of a sudden they're done.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about you the other day when I was listening to a show that was talking about it. This was probably a week after it happened or so, and I was like, man, so many athletes, and I know you kind of do the celebrity tour and thing and stuff like that. And there's some not super high profile athletes involved with that yet, but I wonder if athletes are starting to treat it like kind of stranger danger kind of thing. Like, listen, this isn't something I want people even thinking that I'm involved in, even if it is, a charity driven or a small, that kind of thing. Because a lot of other stuff started getting dug out of the past too. I know a lot of people brought up like Jordan's issues back in the 2000s, not 2000, sorry, back in the 90s with when he retired for a couple of years. It was, the thing back then, it was like, did he retire because the NBA asked him to for a couple of years so that they could put this thing to bed because he had some issues with debts or something. But it's just one of those things, like people already have a tough time dealing with sports and referees, right? And is this legit? And everybody's got their fan team biases and like, oh, we're totally screwed on those calls. They're not, well, they're probably bought, that kind of thing. But then when something comes out in the news, whether you see something happen and you're like, see, I told you it was fake.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. No,
anyway,
it's crazy. So we'll continue to see it, and it's really interesting just to kind of see all that. But I agree. I think if I was a professional athlete, I know. So I think I'm forgetting on the name. I was trying to look it up there, but someone joked about some sort of like, he was like, oh, I should have done this because of the the money line or whatever like that. It's like, even if you're joking, you can't be too careful, because it's like, whoa, like what's going on? So stranger danger. I feel like if I were a professional athlete, I just would kind of distance myself from that industry.
Yep, like poison. Stay away. Stay away. Anyway, from our neck of the woods, outside of being in this new space, we got a couple new things cooking. It's interesting, right about a month ago today, I had a meeting with a doctor who used to work for a practice. It's a client of ours. They're actually right now our largest Scribe client. So of all of our clients that have Scribes through us, remote Scribes, they have the most right now, which is interesting because it's more of a functional medicine kind of hormone therapy kind of treatment center and kind of thing. And they're really cool folks. I went out and visited them out in Utah going on 2 years ago. I think I might end up going to see them again because I'm getting into a different topic. But anyway, this doctor that used to be with them left a little while ago. She had a Scribe, loved her Scribe. Well, she reached out and she's like, hey, I started my own practice. I think they're called Vibrant Life. They're in Utah, but they're in Lehigh. so different city. And she's like, I want to Scribe again. I've got enough people coming and seeing me now. I can't handle the volume, starting to fall behind. And it's, I'm working into the night and I'm working on the weekends. And so it's her. They have two providers. The other provider doesn't have, I don't think she has enough patient flow yet to need a Scribe. But she's like, I want to Scribe again. How does this work? Because she was just a provider. She didn't, she wasn't involved in the agreement and the contract and all the stuff we put together for the last practice. She's like, how does this work? So we talked to her about that like a month ago and say, hey, I'll get you a proposal, take a look at it, we can get started quick. And we put together a proposal. Jamie sent it out. And our process for proposals are, we have a template with certain things that get changed based on the need of the potential client. So she can quickly, if I say, hey, Jamie, this is the lead, here's what they need, pop a proposal together and get it going. So she'll send it out. First person it goes to is me. And I put in some information that we learned from the discovery and I sign it. And then it goes to my business partner. He looks it over, makes sure he likes it and it's profitable. Then it goes to the client, they sign it. And then it goes to our internal stakeholders that have to do the next work and get things started, right? Well, we were doing a lot of different stuff then. And apparently I forgot to do my part. It hit my inbox. I never looked at it, never signed it. And it just sat there and had an email that came in last night that I saw this morning. Hey, Brian, I thought you were going to send me some information. I'm ready to go. I want to get started with this Scribe. I'm like, oh, crap. I'm like, I wonder what went wrong. I sent her an email right away. I say, so sorry. We'll figure out what went wrong. Comes to find out it was my fault. So I dropped the ball on that one. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. She's a great person. I think she'll be a great client. And, it's actually kind of good because Jamie re-forwarded me the one I was supposed to sign. It was missing some stuff. We had offered her a discount. So I got the discount in there and we got it out. So that was good. And that's kind of a cool testimony in itself, in that we've got this client, we've still got this client that's growing. They're super happy. So I want to go out there. I want to do a testimonial. I need to pick your brain on how to do that in person and how to do it right. I want to do more than just a testimonial. I want that footage, but I really want to do a bigger case study, a little more broad.
Yep.
And then that a former doctor of theirs goes out, starts their own practice, and it comes back around where she wants our help too. And she's actually talking to us about possibly helping with some digital marketing stuff too, because she's at a point where, she needs some good messaging and landing page and all that kind of fun stuff. So
good stuff.
That's kind of cool.
Cool.
Another one is last week had a really good meeting with a big opportunity, big prospect opportunity. The size of it really depends. So went into it thinking they needed prior auth. They have a lot of doctors, big pain management group, and that would have made it a big opportunity. Found out they don't need to re-outsource. They got partners doing the stuff, but they don't have any process internally. They just rebuilt their internal team. Everybody's good individually at that they do, but nobody knows how to work together within what the process of, in this particular point, authorizations for a pain management group. So after just kind of talking and listening to them, and first you're kind of disappointed because what you go into the meeting thinking, and these leads that this meeting I went into, we work with a group and they guarantee us one lead meeting booked per month, and each month costs us $5,000. So it's basically $5,000 a meeting. That's the most expensive meetings we pay for in our
yeah.
But we did this on purpose because we want, it's really hard to get in with decision makers of big hospitals or big hundreds of providers groups and stuff, and that's what these guys say they can do for us. So, and we've yet to get one where we go in and where the profile they send us is actually a match with what we learn in the meeting. It's a match for what we do, right? So the whole idea, and that I only bring this up for listeners if people catch this, is like in business you're going to get to the point where you're struggling with getting incoming opportunities, and there's all kinds of companies that can push things your way. Some companies are really good at it. A lot of companies are probably good at it, but since the businesses like us, we're all different and our qualifications are different, our abilities are different, and what we do is different. One lead generation company might be really good at certain kinds of leads for certain kind of companies, and your company might go in there really excited, sign a contract, and all of a sudden they can't produce, right? Yeah. So just be careful with those kind of things. And I would say this company, the jury's still out. I think they're, we were actually wondering for a while if they were even legit, because the leads we were getting were just, they sent very organized. Everything's organized-ish. It's kind of out of Google Docs, and that's kind of a red flag. I'm like, don't you have like a real system you're working out of? These Google Doc things. But they're basically an in-between where they have members that are hospitals and big healthcare groups, and they do educational things and conferences for these guys for educational credits, right? And then they contract with partners, companies, service providers like us, and the whole idea is like they connect their members with partners, right? So we're paying them to make that connection, and they're supposed to need what we have. And we've had probably 15 meetings, and no one has been in a need for what we have. So it's been this meeting of, okay, let's listen and talk. And then all of a sudden we find out 15 minutes in that they don't really need anything. And we're like, well, it was nice meeting you. You know what I mean? And that's not what we're paying for. You know what I mean? Every time there's been sort of one like this one we got, it's a stretch. And it's like, okay, so the profile that we were sent said you needed prior authorization people because you're outsourcing, you're not happy, you want to replace them, and we could be the replacement. No, you're fine that way, you're happy. But none of your people know how to work together in a process for your organization.
Yep.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, what can we do here? Because I don't want to lose. Is there anything we can turn this into? So I'm like, well, usually we come in, we can do it all, whether it's authorizations or coding or billing or, AR, or we can just do everything. A lot of times we come in, we take everything over for our clients. And that gives us a unique expertise. We know how all these processes work, and we have a vast array of different types of practices. We have pain management clients where we've come in and had to redo things. So I said, what we could do, this person's name was David. I said, David, what we could do, because it sounds like you need someone to come in and teach your team how to do their jobs better as a team. Individually, they're okay, but no one's like holding each other accountable. They're not working together. Everything's kind of broken. He's like, yeah. I said, what we could do is put together a project. We come in and we do a full discovery and analysis. Then we do like a planning and design phase, and then we do an implementation. He's like, well, that sounds like what we need, but I don't have a huge budget like a hospital does to pay hundreds of $1,000s for a team of people to come in and do a big consult kind of thing, like office space, like come in and interview people and what. And I said, well, what if we did it in phases? What if we did have an assessment phase, a discovery phase, and then a cutoff? And then we show you our results, what next things we recommend. And if you want us to do that, you can sign another project and we'll do a second phase as the planning and design and so on. It's like, that sounds a little bit more doable, like, cut up the pizza into slices and eat a slice at a time kind of thing, right? So that's what we're going to do. So we'll see how that goes. It could still be big. It could still be, a couple $100 project over the course of the whole thing. And it could still turn out to be affordable for them and profitable for us. And that could be kind of me putting my foot in the door, them opening up a little bit and realizing that maybe some of their people that they're outsourcing aren't doing a great job and we could do better. We've got a lot of clients right now that's how we got in the door. The little data migration project or a little, assessment, or we did a little audit of something. And then you go in and they're like, this is great. This is what we thought, or this isn't, we didn't even know this was happening. Man, now what do we do? Can you guys help us with this? Well, yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It's kind of the stuff that's going on with us right now as, like I said, the flywheel starts moving again.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, nice. And now you got the new office, so you can kind of get back in and hone in on all that focus. So no, that sounds great.
Yep.
A lot of stuff in the fire. Cooking with gas, they say.
Yeah, cooking with propane. What else we got today? Oh, government shutdown. So is that over?
They're saying, when I was out Sunday night watching the game and I was just like kind of talking to my friends at the table and kind of the waiter, and he was coming over and was just talking about the flight. My flight was going to be good. And he was like, hey, you heard it's over now. And then I looked it up and it didn't seem like it was over, but then I heard it's like at any minute it could be over. They're kind of coming to some sort of agreement. I heard it's pretty much coming to an end. Hopefully soon.
That's kind of what I heard. It's so weird how like the whole time it's been like so dramatic, like day 32, and everybody's you suck, no, you suck. But like now, when it's like, I heard Sunday, like you did, that hey, something's going on with it. So I'm looking up headlines. What I heard is like 8 people from the Democratic side decided to flip their vote and I read each one of their statements on why, and it made sense. And some people were still kind of pandering to their party, but at the same time saying enough's enough kind of a thing, and that the Republicans are willing to give enough concessions on whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, okay, 8 would do it. And then what I heard, again, I don't sit in front of the TV watching news, right? I heard yesterday they held the vote and they voted to reopen the government. So I don't know what comes next. I mean,
Yeah.
did everybody just go back to work today? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, it's interesting. Seems like it is coming to an end soon, though, from what I'm hearing out there.
So that could be good. You know, a lot of the things that we were in the midst of when this all happened was kind of looking at government contracting and working with SBA loans and stuff like that. That could come back into play again. So
Nice.
that could be helpful for a lot of people.
Nice. Yes, sir. 100%.
So, all right, it's time to get back to work, everybody in the government. You guys have had a nice little siesta. Hopefully they've been putting all that money aside that they haven't been paying you so you can get your paychecks again, you know, depending. I know a lot of folks kept working, right? They had to.
Yep.
They better get paid. If furlough is a furlough, you know,
Yep.
hopefully if you weren't working there and you weren't getting paid, you had a little side gig. Because, you know, whatever skills you were using in your government job make you utterly employable. And I bet, you know, if it was me, I would have been like, who the heck knows what's going to happen? What am I good at? I can't just sit around and, you know, play video games and eat bonbons all day.
Right.
I'm going to go figure out who needs what I can do. And, you know, maybe the lure of the government pension and all those there's definitely benefits, you know, to working a government job, but you can get paid a lot of money,
Yep.
you know, out in the private market.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
Maybe a lot of people had some career change and they are hopefully enjoying the benefits and the fruits of that.
Definitely.
Risk that they've taken. So anyway,
100%. We shall see. Time will tell.
Sports scene. I didn't watch the game.
Yeah.
Caught the tail end.
I can't. I can't watch the game even if I want to with the YouTube TV issue now. I don't know if you've heard that, but Disney.
I heard a while ago that Disney was going to give YouTube a hard time, and they had a deal for a while. Are they in like lockout mode?
They're in lockout, so you don't get any Disney, ESPN, ABC, anything associated under Disney. You don't get that on YouTube TV anymore, which is pretty much all the NFL games, except when Sunday you can still use Red Zone. But yeah, games like that. It was maybe last week or the week before it was the Monday night game, and I was like, what the heck is going on? I was like, why is this not working? Is there something up with my YouTube TV? So I just Googled it. I was like, is anyone else having the hard time getting the ESPN on YouTube TV? And because ESPN is under Disney, they're in a lockout. They couldn't come to an agreement. So at November 1st that started, and I believe they're still in lockout now.
Yeah, I think I heard that YouTube was trying to sue them for breaking contract because they were still under contract. They were just trying to up the terms, and then YouTube would have had to like really up its fees to its end users.
Yeah. No. So interesting. I know
Google and YouTube usually aren't on the getting screwed end of the stick.
No, they're not. They're not. And I feel like they won't take lightly to that. I don't know who's bigger, Google or Disney. That'd probably be very close.
But
I feel like
it's owned by ABC, right? Or is it the other way around? Does Disney own ABC and ESPN and Hulu and
Alphabet, which is the Google parent company, is significantly bigger than Disney based on market. So they say Alphabet was fourth largest in the world with a market value of 3.4 trillion, while Disney only has about 200 billion. Only 200 billion.
So remember, this is part of Disney's playbook. This is what they do. They've done this before. If you remember years ago, not that long back, but a couple years ago, Disney used to have all of its stuff on Netflix. Remember, they used to have all those Marvel movies, all that Disney cartoon content, all those shows were on Netflix. This is before they had Disney Plus, right? And Netflix was going gangbusters, probably paying Disney a good chunk of change for the licensing to all that content.
100%.
And Disney said, nope, we want to do it ourselves. So they created their Plus platform. And at first it sucked because there wasn't that much on it. But as those licensing deals expired, they pulled everything off, thinking that they would grab all this market share from Netflix. And they're still not the size of Netflix. You know what I mean? Netflix is doing just fine from their their internally produced franchises. And I don't have Netflix anymore because I don't like some of the stuff they're doing. And their fees went through the roof, and I was just like, I got to make a choice.
Yep.
So, I mean, we do have Disney. We don't have the we used to have the package with Hulu because my mother-in-law wanted Hulu, so we let her use our Disney every once in a while. But she didn't care anymore, so we just have the regular Disney Plus, which doesn't have like the ESPN and stuff like that. But
Yep.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yep. So we don't have any insight on the game last night because I wasn't able to watch it. But
Because you could get Red Zone and stuff on YouTube, right?
Yep. So that's still because that's NFL's own thing. I think
Yeah,
NFL.
that's like their old DirecTV package, right? So you can still do you have that?
Yep. So I was still able, well, not this Sunday because I was on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually that Red Zone still works. Thursday night football is Prime, so I have Amazon Prime, so I can still watch that. It's just the Monday night games right now, which I believe all Monday night games are licensed to ESPN ABC, which is under Disney.
Yeah, and they don't put it on regular ABC TV anymore, do they?
I'm not sure. I think if it's a localized game, maybe like on your local ABC networks. But as far as national ABC, I'm not sure. But I know YouTube TV doesn't get any of the ABCs now.
Yeah, I used like back in the day. I used to, whether I was watching or not, I'd have Monday Night Football on.
Yeah,
no matter who was playing, when it was just ABC. But the second, I mean, I cut cable a long time ago.
Yep, same here.
You know what I mean? It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah,
a couple
100%.
$100, and I only watched a couple stations.
Yeah,
but local channels, when it was on ABC, when they still had it, I would have it on and it was playing in the house whether I was sitting there paying attention or not. You know what I mean? And it was always so I bet your ratings were better when it was just on regular. They just made that decision. I think ESPN is done. And again, I'm not so good at business that I could tell them what to do. I don't think they're nearly as popular, and maybe it's just in my mind space as what they used to be. You know?
Yeah, no, I think Pat McAfee, his show being joined there, I think that's really going to be what holds the glue together there. I think you still have those people that love sports. I don't see it going anywhere, but I definitely agree with it's not the same because, I mean, example, boxing, for example. Now boxing is going to Netflix and all these other ones. UFC is partnering. It was either Paramount or Peacock, one of those two, and they're exclusive on there now. So it's like it's not just ESPN. It's everyone's getting into the game. So I feel like that's the thing now. And sometimes you can't compete with the Disney Plus for the licensing. So yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know that they have as good of talent as they used to from a standpoint of like all the people in their shows and stuff. Like I think their peak was probably maybe 2000 to 2010, 2015-ish and up a little bit. Like some of the legends in the kind of sports commentary world, they were all on ESPN, right? At one point. And then what happened is I think those guys started to ask for more money, and the ESPNs were like, that's the cap of that. And then they went off and got their more money somewhere else. And there's a lot of those guys like Dan Patrick's getting up there in age, and I used to listen to Cowherd a lot, and all those guys that were on Sports Center over the years, Van Pelt and all that kind of stuff. Like there was a point in my time, like my 20s and 30s, when I got up in the morning, Sports Center was on 3 times in a row. Yeah. Because throughout getting ready, walking around and doing things, you would catch it all. You didn't have to sit there and watch it. Driving to work, it was ESPN radio. Driving to meetings all day long, it was ESPN radio.
Yep.
And going home, it was ESPN. That's all I listened to. Yeah. And I don't listen to it at all anymore.
Right.
It's not because I don't like sports or I'm not interested in it. It's just I just don't think it's not as compelling and as well done as it used to be. If they bled into politics, they bled into things that, like, if I want that kind of stuff, I know where to get it.
Right. Exactly. Yep. So no, we shall see.
Anywho, cool. Well, so back to the Packer game. Big loss for the Pack, which I was pulling for them. Dang it, Packers! Like seriously, you can't beat the Eagles.
Yeah. No, that's a tough team.
It's not like they're a bad team or anything, but like I need you to win a game for my division, and you come and lay a seven spot on them.
Right. Exactly.
So, I don't know. Manny was at the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So one of our clients, Dr. Matusi from Great Midwest Foot and Ankle. Shout out to you guys. One of our longest running clients in our business. He had tickets, so he brought Manny with him, and they went. Manny had never been to a Packer game.
Nice.
And it's like sub cold out there, and the wind's blowing, and so I figured they were going to be tailgating pretty early. He was going to have a few, and have a fun time at the game, and maybe not even show up for work today. Because with me there, I probably wouldn't have. But he's like, He's like, yeah, it was so. I was like, did you have fun? He's like, no, not really. Well, why not? He's like, it was so cold.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So cold. He's like, I go, did you not like wear layers and stuff? He's like, no, I had so many clothes on. Doc brought me an extra jacket. He's like, but it was miserable. He's like, I had 2 beers and like 4 whiskeys, and I didn't feel drunk at all.
Okay.
Because you're like tense, like trying to stay warm, right?
Yep.
So you're just trying to keep your heart and your blood flowing at that point. And he's like, the game was bad. He's not a big football fan, so he doesn't know like all the rules, but he understands the concepts. And he's like, I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
Like the Packers he's like, it looked like they didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
They were just, handing off the ball. They weren't throwing it downfield. And when they did, they couldn't catch the ball. And I was like, well, being cold had a little bit to do with it because they haven't had a lot of cold games yet. And they're a relatively young team, but they're not inexperienced. They know it gets cold. Yeah. And they have all the stuff on the sideline to keep them warm. So, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer that it wasn't a super exciting game. I mean, I don't mind a low scoring game if defense is making big plays and stuff.
Yep. Exactly. 100%.
But I don't know how Packer games are fun in general.
Yeah.
He was probably, he's a sports fan, but he's a big cricket fan, different type of sports fan. So he's probably expecting something a little bit. And I might have built it up in him a little bit over the years. Like, you got to get to a game and tailgate. It's a great time. But yeah. So what else is going on? Any other big headlines in sports?
No, I think that's about it. Yeah, just good week of sports, getting into the NBA season, so we'll start keeping a pulse on that. But yeah, overall everything, nothing too crazy out there, I don't think.
Are they doing that early season tournament thing right now in the NBA? Is that what's going on?
I don't think so. I know college basketball kind of has those early season tournaments going on right now, but as far as the NBA goes, I don't believe so.
What was that thing they've been doing the last couple of years where they have they do, I can't remember what they call it, but they paint up the floor real funky, and it's kind of like, man, I wish I remember what it was called.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what that is.
Regular season NBA tourney. Here it comes. In-season tournament, the Emirates NBA Cup. That's what it is.
Okay. I like that.
So it used to just be an in-season tournament. It's now branded as the Emiratis NBA Cup, or Emiratis.
Okay.
League's third annual mid-season competition, fully integrated into the regular season. All 30 teams participate, with group stage games counting towards the regular season standings and tiebreakers. It's designed to add excitement early in the year with custom courts, prize money, up to $500K per player on the winning team.
Nice. Dude, yeah, I like
nice
that.
Little early season bumpity bump.
Yeah, love that.
MVP award and an all-tournament team. The Lakers won the inaugural season in 23, and the Bucks won it in 24.
Nice.
So mid-group play. Here's the latest on the format. Blah blah blah. So, yeah, kind of cool.
Very, very nice.
But yeah, I think that's going on now because a buddy of mine was watching. We were practicing last Thursday for Sunday worship, and he was like, has phone out. He was like, the court had like the trophy built into like the paint and the free throw line and the art.
Nice.
It looked pretty cool.
Nice. Love that.
Crazy stuff they're doing with the courts now. Like, whether it's WNBA or NBA, sometimes I look at those games and it looks like they're superimposed on the court. It doesn't look real. I'm sure it is, but it looks like, because the colors are so vibrant, you're used to just seeing like the streaks in the wood and stuff like that. It's crazy when the whole thing's painted up.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Anyway.
100%.
All right, man. What else is up? I think that's about it. I mean, I don't have anything too compelling as to close out on. I mean, the studio's digging it. I don't know. I mean, I was thinking of going like a darker color in the studio with some more kind of dynamic decoration, maybe some lights. What I'm thinking is they're about $300 or $400, but getting like a neon BLP light.
I like that. Yeah.
I think a dark, cool.
Yeah, dark background with like kind of a neon BLP with that purple. I think that
Yeah.
maybe a black with that purple, I think would be really cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. I have to
Nice.
pull out the rollers and the paintbrushes to do that.
Yeah. Now that the move's
Um,
done, now the fun stuff begins. You get to start decorating and kind
right.
of making it look how you like. So
Yeah, a
now
little
the
bit more
fun begins.
permanent a setting. It's gonna
Yeah.
be nice to have more room. We could do 4 people here if we wanted to, 2 on the sides too. But even just 2 right here behind
Yep.
this big desk, it'll be really good.
Love it.
It'll be really
Love it.
good.
Love it.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, bud. Hey, thanks for popping in. Glad to have you back. Glad to be back
Yep.
on the Daily BLP. So
100%. No, glad to be back. Glad the move went smoothly, and yeah, really excited to keep this going. We're going into the holiday season, so it'll be cool to just kind of talk about everything going on around then. But yeah, glad to be back, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for episode 83 of the Daily BLP. Everybody have a great evening. See you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody.